He talking about he got a surviving T.I. and Tiny doc? Man, that is diabolical. That's cold-blooded. And mentioning the Diddy situation in the same breath, he basically telling T.I.
50 Cent and T.I. is back at it. 50 Cent jumped out there. He let him know that he's putting out a documentary surviving T.I. and Tiny.
But a series of disturbing sexual assault allegations against the Atlanta rapper and his wife Tamika Harris threatened to topple the empire they've built.
That comment right there is exactly why the internet suddenly started paying attention again. Because according to multiple conversations happening online right now, 50 Cent may be preparing something that could completely change this entire feud. And that something isn't a diss track. It isn't a freestyle. It isn't even a rap response. What people are saying is that 50 Cent could be preparing a documentary focused on T.I., Tiny, and the Harris family. And if that actually happens, then this situation instantly moves from rap beef into something much bigger, because a diss track comes and goes. But a documentary can change the way people look at a situation for years. Now, the crazy part is that this entire situation didn't even start as something this serious. At the beginning, it looked like a normal hip-hop moment. I publicly challenged 50 Cent to a versus battle. Fans debated who would win. People were excited because both artists have legendary catalogs. But instead of accepting the battle or even entertaining the idea for long, 50 Cent started responding in his usual way, with trolling, with memes, with sarcastic posts, and slowly those jokes started getting more personal. Because eventually the conversation stopped being about music and started involving T.I.'s family. Once Tiny's name became part of the trolling online, the tone of the entire situation changed. Now, this wasn't just rap competition anymore. This became personal. T.I. responded publicly, and then something even more unexpected happened. His son started stepping into the situation as well. Suddenly, the entire Harris family looked like they were standing together and responding to the disrespect. For a moment, it looked like the internet conversation was shifting in their favor. People were talking about diss records. People were debating who had the best response. But while all of that was happening publicly, another detail started catching people's attention. 50 Cent stopped talking. No diss track, no constant posts, no aggressive trolling like fans were expecting. And if you follow 50 long enough, you already know that when he goes quiet during a feud, it usually means something is being prepared behind the scenes.
The documentary, Dame thought I was coming. I hope this doesn't mess up your promo tour. They're gonna ask about your 20 SA cases. You might want to talk to a crisis PR.
That one statement made a lot of people start connecting the dots because it reminded everyone of what happened during his conflict with Diddy. At first, it looked like normal internet trolling. Then suddenly a documentary appeared and the entire situation changed overnight. So when people heard rumors that 50 Cent might be preparing another documentary, this time involving T.I., and Tiny, the internet immediately started paying attention. Because if history repeats itself, this could be a completely different kind of response. Not rap, not music, media. Now, part of the reason this rumor spread so quickly is because the Harris family has already faced serious allegations in the past. Over the years, accusations involving misconduct and party incidents have surfaced online. Now, to be clear, T.I. and Tiny have repeatedly denied those claims, and some legal cases connected to those accusations have already been dismissed. But despite that, the controversy has never fully disappeared from the internet, which means if someone were to create a documentary exploring those allegations again, it could bring all of those conversations right back into the spotlight.
The egregious allegations that's been tossed around about me and my wife. Whatever we ever have done has been done with consensual adults who into what we into and like what we like. We ain't never made nobody do anything. We ain't never trafficked anything. Well, anything.
Whatever we ever have done has been done with consensual adults. T.I. has been very clear about his position. From the beginning, he and Tiny have denied wrongdoing and insisted that everything involving their lifestyle involved consenting adults. But in the world of media, accusations alone can create massive attention. And if someone like 50 Cent were to turn those accusations into a full documentary project, it would automatically become one of the most talked about stories in hip-hop. That's exactly why people in the industry have started reacting to this rumor so strongly, because they understand something many fans are just starting to realize. 50 Cent doesn't always fight battles the way other rappers do. Most artists respond with diss tracks. They go to the studio, they record a response. But 50 has spent the last decade building something much bigger than just a rap career. He's built a television empire. He produces shows. He produces documentaries. He controls media platforms, and that means when he decides to respond to someone, the response doesn't always come through music anymore.
When that man get quiet, that's when you need to start praying. That's when you need to check your windows and doors. Cause he in the lab cooking up destruction. He talking about he gotta surviving T.I. and Tiny Doc? Man, that is diabolical. That's cold-blooded.
And that might be the most important warning in this entire situation, because right now, the Harris family has been responding publicly, releasing music and defending their name. But if the rumors are true and 50 Cent is actually preparing a documentary about them, then this feud might be heading into a completely different battlefield.
When that man get quiet, that's when you need to start praying. That's when you need to check your windows and doors, cause he in the lab cooking up destruction. He talking about he gotta surviving T.I. and Tiny Doc? Man, that is diabolical.
That right there is the moment this entire situation stopped looking like a normal rap beef. Because once the conversation shifted from diss tracks to documentaries, the stakes changed instantly. At first, people thought the feud between 50 Cent and T.I. was just another back and forth moment in hip-hop. T.I. challenged him for Versus, 50 responded with trolling, and the internet turned it into entertainment. But when talk of a documentary started circulating, people realized something important. 50 might not be trying to win a rap battle. He might be trying to win a media war. And that's a completely different type of fight. Now, if you look at how 50 Cent has moved over the past few years, this strategy actually makes a lot of sense. He's not just a rapper anymore. He's a television producer. He's behind major shows. He's produced documentaries. And he understands exactly how powerful media storytelling can be when it comes to shaping public opinion. That's why when people heard that he might be working on a project involving T.I. and Tiny, the reaction online was immediate because people started remembering the controversies that surrounded the Harris family years ago. Now, to be clear, these accusations have always been strongly denied by both T.I. and Tiny. But even denied allegations can create massive headlines if they're brought back into the spotlight. And that's exactly why the idea of a documentary started making people nervous. Because if someone like 50 Cent decides to tell that story from a media perspective, it instantly becomes a national conversation. And the clips that started resurfacing online only added more fuel to the discussion.
Byrne represents 9 anonymous women who say the Harrises drugged and in some cases kidnapped them. And while each encounter is different, a troubling alleged pattern emerges.
9 anonymous women say the Harrises drugged and assaulted them. Those accusations first surfaced several years ago and quickly became one of the biggest controversies surrounding the Harris family. Multiple women came forward with claims involving misconduct at parties and private gatherings. However, T.I. and Tiny have consistently denied those accusations from the very beginning. Their legal team has argued that the allegations are false and exaggerated. Some lawsuits were eventually dismissed, and no criminal convictions were made against the couple. But even with those developments, the controversy never fully disappeared from public conversation. Every few years, the story resurfaces again online. And that's exactly why the possibility of a documentary is making so many people pay attention right now. Because documentaries have a way of bringing old stories back into the spotlight. They revisit accusations, they interview people, they present narratives. And once that happens, the public conversation starts all over again, which is exactly why many fans believe 50 Cent might be planning something bigger than a typical rap response. Now, if you go back and listen to how people in the rap community talk about 50, they often describe him as someone who doesn't follow the traditional rules of rap beef. Most artists respond with bars, but 50 has built a reputation for responding with strategy, and sometimes that strategy involves exposing situations that opponents would rather keep quiet.
Most people, they beef. They go to the studio, they make a little diss track. Not 50. 50 go get a camera crew, a director, and a distribution deal with a network just to ruin your whole month.
That statement from Boosie explains exactly why this rumor has people watching so closely. Because if a documentary is actually being prepared, it means the conflict between 50 Cent and T.I. is no longer just about pride or rap competition. It becomes about reputation. It becomes about public perception. And in the entertainment industry, those things can affect everything from business deals to television appearances. Which is why some observers believe this situation might escalate far beyond music. Because the moment a project like that gets announced, the media attention becomes impossible to ignore. News outlets start reporting. Blogs start analyzing every detail. Social media explodes with debates. And suddenly, a feud that started online becomes a national headline. That's exactly why another comment from Boosie started spreading across the internet as people tried to understand what might happen next.
This rap game then turned into an investigation discovery. But check this out. I've been telling y'all, the internet is a dangerous place for a legend.
And honestly, that might be the best way to describe what's happening. Because if the rumors are true and 50 Cent really is preparing a documentary targeting T.I. and Tiny, then this feud may be entering a completely different phase. A phase where diss tracks don't matter anymore. A phase where the battle moves from the studio to the screen.
We ain't never made nobody do anything. We ain't never trafficked anything. Well, anything.
Statements like that show how strongly T.I. has pushed back against the claims over the years. From the beginning, both he and Tiny have insisted that everything about their lifestyle involved consenting adults and that the accusations being made against them were false. But as many people in the entertainment industry know, public perception doesn't always follow legal outcomes. Sometimes a story continues circulating online, even after the legal cases connected to it are over. And that's exactly why a documentary could potentially have such a big impact, because documentaries have a way of reshaping the conversation around old controversies. They bring footage back, they show archived headlines, they replay interviews, and suddenly people who never paid attention to the original story start hearing about it for the first time. Now, another reason this situation is getting so much attention is because of the way 50 Cent has handled conflicts in the past. Most rappers fight their battles with music, but 50 has shown that he's willing to use media platforms instead. And that strategy has worked for him before. When he went after Diddy publicly, it didn't stay limited to social media posts. It eventually turned into a full documentary project that dominated headlines. So when fans see him hinting at something similar now, they immediately start wondering if the same playbook is being used again.
The accusations against T.I. and Tamika Harris span 15 years in Georgia and California, with the most recent incident allegedly taking place in 2018, according to Blackburn. Beyond allegations, 3 of Blackburn's clients, 2 women and 1 man, say T.I. or his associates threatened them with violence. And Los Angeles attorney Lisa Bloom says she represents 2 women who endured misconduct at the hands of T.I., Tamika, or both.
That timeline is exactly why the story remains controversial. Because when allegations stretch across multiple years, they tend to generate massive media interest. Every detail becomes part of a larger narrative. Every interview gets analyzed. Every response becomes headline material. And if a documentary were to explore that timeline in depth, the conversation around the Harris family could easily dominate social media for weeks. But there's another layer to this situation that many fans are starting to realize, and that's the involvement of T.I.'s family in the feud itself. When the conflict between 50 Cent and T.I. first started, it was just 2 rappers arguing online. But once King Harris and other members of the family started responding publicly, the entire situation became much more personal. Now, the story wasn't just about 2 artists, it was about a family defending their name. And once a feud reaches that level, the emotions involved become much stronger. Because for many people, family is a line that shouldn't be crossed. But if 50 Cent truly believes he has a media project that can damage the Harris family's reputation, then from his perspective, the feud may have already passed that line. And that's why another comment from the media world has been circulating while fans debate what might happen next.
We are dead set on seeking justice.
Comments like that show how serious the original accusations were when they first surfaced. Even though the Harris family denies those claims and some cases were dismissed, the controversy itself never completely disappeared from public conversation, which means if a documentary revisits those accusations, it could reopen debates that many people thought were already over. And that's exactly why the situation is being watched so closely right now. Because if the rumors are true and 50 Cent is really preparing a documentary about T.I. and Tiny, then this feud might not end with a diss track. It might end with a media storm that puts the entire Harris family under a spotlight once again.
Shorty, small, too small, 5 foot flat, looking like a little lab rat. Rubber band man snap, bro looking like she from the chocolate factory. On skin, gray hair with a tragedy. Tiny by name, trolled by face, should've stayed me a lane.
What makes this entire situation even more interesting right now is the silence. Because while the internet keeps debating, reacting, and speculating about this rumored documentary, the one person everyone is watching the most hasn't really said much at all. 50 Cent. And if you followed his career long enough, you already know that when he goes quiet during a conflict, it rarely means the situation is over. In fact, many times it means the opposite. It means something is being prepared. Think about how many times we've seen this pattern before. At first, there's trolling, jokes, and memes. The internet laughs, blogs repost everything, and people assume it's just entertainment. But then suddenly, something bigger appears. A show announcement, a project, a documentary, or some other move that shifts the entire narrative. That's why so many people are paying attention right now. Because the rumor about a documentary didn't just appear out of nowhere. It started spreading after fans noticed a few things that seemed unusual. First, 50 stopped posting about the situation as frequently. Second, older clips and allegations involving T.I. and Tiny suddenly started circulating again across blogs and reaction channels. And third, people began remembering how similar moments played out in other situations involving 50 Cent. When he gets quiet, people start expecting something calculated. Now at the same time, the Harris family hasn't exactly stayed silent either. T.I. has addressed controversy many times over the years and has repeatedly defended both himself and Tiny against accusations that have followed them online. Their supporters believe those accusations were exaggerated or misunderstood, and they often point to the legal outcomes where cases were dismissed. But in the world of public opinion, stories don't always disappear just because legal situations end. Sometimes the internet continues discussing them anyway. And if a documentary were to revisit those old headlines, it could easily spark another wave of attention. That's what makes documentaries different from diss tracks. A diss record might trend for a few days. A documentary can trend for months. It invites commentary from media outlets, bloggers, reaction channels, and social media users all at once. Everyone begins breaking down the story from their own perspective. Some people will defend the Harris family, others will criticize them, and some will simply watch the drama unfold as another major moment in hip-hop culture. But here's where things get even more complicated. If the documentary rumor is true, then this feud is no longer about music. It's about reputation. And reputation battles in the entertainment industry can be far more serious than rap beef. Artists can survive diss tracks, but large media narratives can follow celebrities for years. That's why so many fans are asking the same question right now. Is 50 Cent actually preparing something behind the scenes? Or is the entire rumor itself just another strategic move? Because even the possibility of a documentary has already done something powerful. It shifted the conversation. Instead of people debating rap skills or versus battles, the discussion has moved toward controversies, allegations, and the past. And when a narrative moves in that direction, it becomes much harder to control. That's exactly why some people believe the smartest move right now might simply be waiting to see whether the rumors turn into something real. Because until an official announcement happens, everything remains speculation. But speculation alone can keep a story alive for a very long time. And if there's one thing that both hip-hop culture and internet culture share, it's that people love watching situations unfold in real time. Right now, that's exactly what's happening. The feud is still hanging in the air. The rumors are still spreading. And the possibility of a documentary has everyone wondering what the next move might be. Whether that move comes from 50 Cent, from T.I., or from someone else entirely remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. Until the situation finally settles, this story isn't going anywhere. And if a documentary actually drops, this entire conversation could explode all over again.